Hello and welcome to this Color It In video. Today I'm going to show you how to color in this beautiful mushroom scene. All the supplies will be listed down below in the description. And in addition to that, you can either print out a free coloring worksheet, or I also have tutorials on how to draw this yourself. So check that out down below and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to start with the background, the sky. So I'm going to use three colors. I'm going to use this second pink in the box, which is the brightest pink. And I'm also going to use this pretty light purple and the dark purple. So I'm going to start with this section of the sky first so that my colors have time to, they're going to be moist enough to blend. So I'm going to start with this dark purple. I'm going to use this guide right here. This is the halfway point, and I'm just going to put a light line through here. And I'll make this about this tall here because I want it to be dramatic. I want that dark purple to show. And then I'm going to outline here along the edge and along the top edge. Okay, now I'm just going to color in this section, and I like to go in circles because that covers up all the paper, but you can go in any direction as long as you're covering up the paper. Oh, I forgot to outline my little mushroom top here. You always want to outline, even though it seems tedious or silly, but you do it because that really does prevent you from coloring outside of the line, especially with these gel crayons. They tend to smudge and they can get messy if you don't use them the right way. Okay, so I'm done with that. Now I'm going to switch to the light purple, and I'm going to decide to make this down here so I just have a little sliver of that pink showing. Again, outlining. Then I'm going to circle this in, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to grab some of that dark purple to mix into the lighter purple because that's going to help me blend later. All right, now finally with the pink. Again, I'm going to outline everything first, nice and neat, and circle this in, and then color it in. When I get crumbs like this, I'll clean it off on my finger, and then so I don't waste my color, I'll just put it back onto the paper. I am going to clean that off though, because I don't want to have dirty fingers while I work. Okay, now I'm going to blend from light to dark. So starting at the bottom, I'm going to go in horizontally. And then I'm going to circle these colors into each other. And the goal is to make one disappear into the other. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up in circles, and now I'm going to go horizontally to make that pink look like it disappeared into the purple. And same thing here, circle it. I think I want to rework this just a little bit more, so I'm going to clean that dark purple off my finger. Dry it off a little bit on my apron. Now my finger was still a little bit moist from my my hand wipe, but the good news is that these colors are sort of like a watercolor. So it reacted to the water and it loosened up some of the paint so that it made it easier for me to blend. That's what's so cool about these gel crayons, is that They behave as though they are an oil pastel, but they also work with water. It's so cool. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Oh, how pretty. Okay, let's clean off our fingers. So we're going to go for this bright green. It's the brightest green in the box. And the one next to it, which is sort of like a medium green. I'm going to start with my darker color first. So, oh, and if you'll notice, I don't know if you could see it on camera, but I've got all these little smudges. I think that was from my box. So I'm going to clean off the bottom of my box, but don't worry about it if you get little smudges like that, because we can cover them up with our colors. Once again, I'm going to smooth this off. And I'm going to follow this guideline here. This is where my section is going to end, right here. And I'm going to make the dark green about, well, let's just go about midway. Like that. So we're going to make sure to outline. Then we'll finish it off with this bright green. Okay, so now I'm going to blend from light to dark. Okay, now moving on to the next section, going back to that darker green. Okay, so the next color that we're going to use, this is like the lightest red in the box, and the one next to it that has sort of like a lavender purpley barrel, because that's actually more of like a dark red. So we'll use those two. So I'm going to start with that darker red with the purple barrel, and I'm going to decide that the majority of the light, like say the moon is maybe coming more from this side, which means the other side is going to be dark. So I'm going to make this the dark side up to about there. Now I'm going to go in with this brighter red and color in the rest, but outline first. Now on camera, you might not be able to see the difference between these two reds, but in person you will be able to see that one definitely is a little brighter than the other, and it will look like this really cool transition from light to dark. Okay, so for the underside, I'm just going to keep it simple, and I'm going to use this peach color. Okay, time to blend. Now, I'm going to take out the white and the lightest gray from the box, this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a whole coating of white. You're going to be wondering, why are we coloring the paper white when the paper is already white? But you'll see in a second. We're going to coat this first. This is our underlay. And you want to make sure that it stays clean, because you might pick up some of that red. Okay, now we're going to add a dark tone. So remember, we're going to put the light's coming from here, so the dark is going to be on the other side. And this gray is pretty strong. Even though it's the light gray in the box, it's still kind of dark, but that's why we're going to mix it in with the white. So you see how I just grabbed the corner and fanned it out? And then here, I'm just going to go along the side and the bottom here. And I'm not going to press too hard, because that gray does go a long way. And then here I'm just going to go a little bit on the side and along the bottom here. And then just try to fan it out. Now for this, I think I am going to get a Q-tip. Okay. So that I can fit into this teensy little corner. I'm going to blend this as best as I can. You don't want to press too hard with the Q-tip because it will lift the color up. And same thing here. It's just a very light flick. It's almost like patting it. Then here I can just use my fingers. You want to make sure that you don't have any red or other colors on your fingers before you blend. I don't know if you could tell on camera, but that looks like a beautiful shadow on there. Now, for those of you who are a little bit intimidated by this, you could probably skip the tones on these mushroom spots. If you like, it's not totally necessary. Your picture's not gonna die because of it. But definitely for the mushroom stem, let's work on that. And just be careful that your white didn't pick up any of that green. Okay, let's color the whole thing in. Now, we're going to put it on the opposite side of the light. Along the bottom. And let's make this kind of thick, but I'm going to sort of lighten up my pressure as I move out. And there would also be a little bit of a shadow from the mushroom top coming in, so let's put that under there too. Okay, so make sure that your fingers are clean, because if you have red, green, or any of those other colors on there, you don't want it to mess up the white. Okay, so I'm thoroughly cleaning and then drying it on my apron. Okay, now we're going to mix the two colors together. Had a little bit of red there that I needed to scrape out with my nails. Okay, now let's put a shadow underneath our mushroom stem, and for that I'm just going to use this really dark kind of foresty green color. And since we decided the light is mostly coming from this direction, the shadow would also be going in that direction. So I'm just going to get it right underneath the stem and angling this way. Then I'm going to blend it starting kind of in the middle, but then I'm going to just gently feather out the edges so it looks more like a natural shadow. So it doesn't look so hard on the edges there. And you know what? I think I'm going to add a tint of this blue-green, just so that the shadow looks even prettier. So now we have a nice, dark, dramatic shadow. Okay, now I'm going to take this dark forest green color, and we're just going to add a little bit of grassy texture. Okay, So I'm cleaning off the crumbs. This might be a little bit tricky because these are chunky. So the way that we're going to do that is we're not going to make porcupine lines. We're going to start at the bottom and flick up. So like this. So flick, 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 like so. And you can just add them wherever. But to give it a little bit of perspective, I think the ones in the back I'll make a little shorter, and then the ones in the front I'll make them a little bigger, taller. And then so even right through the shadow, even kind of over the mushroom. You'll see he looks like he's really buried in the grass there. You even put some past the horizon line a little bit. I think I don't like the way I made these too much of a V, so I'm going to add just a little bit more to them. So it looks a little bit more natural. How fun is that? Okay, now we're going to do one final little detail. We're going to put some little stars in the sky. So I'm going to take my white acrylic paint and just put a little bit in there. And usually I use the end of a paper clip, but I don't have a paper clip today, so I'm just going to use the tip end of a skinny paintbrush. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dip it in there once like that. Although I don't want it to be too gloppy, so I'm going to put a little bit back in there. And all I'm going to do is put some dots straight down. So not at an angle, don't scrape it. And it's just one quick little boop, boop each time. And you can probably get like 3 or 4 dots out of it before you need to reload. You don't want to overcrowd them, so space them apart. The big ones will look like they're closer to us. The littler ones are going to look like they're a little farther away, which also helps to add depth to the sky. How beautiful! Well, okay, we're all done. Now, you could also decorate your frame. I do have a video, I believe it's my fishbowl video, where I show you how you can mask off the edges and how to color the frame. So you can check that out. But other than that, we are finished. I hope you enjoyed yourself and I hope you had fun. Okay, bye!